Hi, guys. Hello, and welcome to Off the Record podcast. This is episode 9. My name is Rejoice Nathan, and I am your host. Of course, as usual, we are here again, and I hope you had a wonderful week. I hope you're doing well yourself. How do I even begin this? For the past, would I say 20 to 30 minutes, I've tried recording and stopping. And this is because I was not sure if I should put this out. It wasn't part of the plan, actually. This particular conversation was not planned. It's not part of the topic I wanted to talk about, but it kept coming to my mind. Right. So one of these days during my quiet time, I love my quiet time because it allows me launch into the deep and uncover uncommon wisdom. Yes, I'm serious about that. I'm serious about that. And there's something that came to my mind, or that have been in my mind for the past few days now. In fact, I've written a little about it, but I still wanted to talk about it more, expand it more as much as I can, as much as um, I'm willing to go, right? Because most of these things, it's a step by step process in like uncovering the thought process and all of that. Otherwise, it might be difficult. It might be a little bit difficult to really grab, right? So the idea, the particular thing that has been on my mind is the creation of man, right? Come with me, please stay with me. The idea that man isn't just something God created, but and rather God's automation strategy. I'm going to try to break this down. I think God was very, very much intentional when he created man. I call God the chief strategist. At some point, God is the chief everything. He's the chief, he's the chief creator, he's the chief strategist, he's the chief captain, anything, chief cook. He is, right? But in this, giving context to what I want to talk about, I call him the chief strategist because I am of the opinion that God did not just create man for creation's sake. God created man because um, he wanted, it was like a strategy to an expansion strategy. Yes, the creation of man is an expansion strategy, and I say this because God continued his creation through man. In the beginning of the world, um, the word was void and without form, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God made the sky, God made the water, God made rocks, God made animals, and all that, right? And then He made man. The reason for God making man is not just to prove Himself as God. It's not just to foster that communication, that fellowship, but also as a continuation of his creation, right? When local farmers use hoes or cutlass to till the ground, like local farmers in those days, and then with time they begin to create we begin to have innovations like tractors and machines that is also able to do the same job but faster, better, and in like a larger quantity, right? I'm coming. When you really think about it, God laid the foundation of the earth. He created the basic things. It's just like when we were in school. that they taught us about primary colors and secondary colors, and how you can use two primary colors to get secondary colors, right? And then we also have tertiary colors. So those things that God created were the foundation that every other thing was expanded through. So God created the raw materials like water, rock, trees, light. When I say light, I'm talking about sun and moon, daylight, basically, seasons, animals, and so on and so forth. Because by the time we proceed, we will begin to realize that most of the things that we are using now were created from what used to be. They were literally made from an existing thing. Food, cars, tires, clothing, tissues. We already know. Most of us already know the origin of some of these things. Buildings from rock, right? When I was younger, I used to think that because I usually see all those big lorries carrying gravels and all those sand for building, right? I usually see them cross my street, and I used to ask myself, the place they are packing this sand from, what if it finishes one day? We just stopped building houses. And then I left my small town, came into bigger cities. I've traveled to different places and I've seen bigger, better building, and people are still building. Water and sand are not finishing. Is God not wonderful? Alright, but that's not even the point, right? God made all these foundational things, and then man proceeds to figure out how to, for instance, how to quench thirst, not just with water, but with like an added flavor taste. And we call it wine. We build houses, we have cars, we have technology now. We have energy in terms of light bulbs, charging our phones, charging our devices, even in darkness we can light up our houses now. We even have solar energy right now, inverters and all of those things that generate energy. We as human beings, we think like our Father, our source, which is God. No wonder he said he made man in his image and likeness. Think about this. I'm sure you've noticed how new generation innovations becomes better than what we used to have, what used to exist. And how some fathers would expect their sons to do better than they did. Oh yes, we are carrying the seed of him through which we are, right? There is no way. We were made to carry on, to continue from what he started in terms of creation, not just the gospel. Yes, the gospel. Yes, the word. Yes, preaching salvation and the love of God. But also in terms of creation, creativity is expected of us to continue what God has started and to do it magnificently, to do it excellently. Because if man is made in the image of God, creativity is inbound. It is inborn in us. We aren't supposed to be surprised at some of these creativities because it is part of who we are. It is our design. It is part of us. When they say something is embedded in someone, it is part of who we are. And it's crazy how this thought really humbles me, because it means that somehow all glory still goes to God. And of course, should be. Brilliance shows up in everything, everywhere. And the fact that God trusted us to continue what he started, God trusted us with continuation, which is to say that a goat cannot give birth to a snake. A snake cannot give birth to an elephant. I think I'm making sense right now. God trusts us so much that he knows that it is my seed that is here. This is me. This is like what do I call it now? This is a mini me. He made us and he's relaxed, fully um fully aware or fully reassured that we already carry that zeal, that passion. See, it's going to be very difficult for man to exist and innovation does not exist. It is going to be it's impossible. There will always be something new. There will always be innovation. There will always be an advancement. There will always be a change. Things would always evolve. Like the world would always, generation after generation, new things would come up and old things would fade away. That is the seed that was planted in man. That is just the point I'm trying to make. And when I look around, I don't see just human work. I don't see just human effort. I see that seeds, traces of divine wisdom in everything. Somehow you see connection to the foundation. You see connection to the original thing that was made. Like where that thing is coming from and what it's coming from. For instance, aeroplane. I'm sure that we've all heard how the birds of the earth inspired the people that made the aeroplane. Somehow, somewhere, you will definitely see the traces of God's wisdom in everything. That's just the point I'm trying to make. And then I'll just close with, this is going to be very short and simple. I'll just close with this, and it's that it's just a little wisdom that came to me while I was thinking about this whole thing. And I don't know if I should call it a wisdom or a lesson, right? That thing is, you can't do everything by yourself as a person. If God could not do all the advancement and innovation and the creation, okay, let's not say advancement and innovation. If God could not do all the creation himself, who the hell are you? You can't do everything yourself. It is not supposed to be. It is, permit me to use the word an abomination for you to want to do everything yourself. Whether you're building a business, whether in your career, whether family, whether in a team, wherever you are, whatever you do, even in your household, you would get exhausted trying to do everything yourself. The secret to expansion is finding ways to replicate yourself. That is the fastest and most proven and credible means of growth and expansion. Building wealth, or building a healthy family, or building a healthy team, or building a healthy and great business. So find a way to be able to replicate yourself, so that find a way to be able to plant the seed that you have in things, people. Let things work for you. Let people work for you. That is the fastest way to expansion. I don't know if I've been able to really dissect this the way it is in my head, but I hope that with this viewpoint of mine, I've been able to pass across a little message. Because me too, it came like a discovery for me, and me too, I'm learning to apply this to my own personal life. I'm learning to apply this to myself. Right? Let's learn from God's strategy. Again, I call this God the chief strategist, the chief creator. Let's learn from God's strategy. Find ways to replicate yourself, and you would expand. That's just all. That's just all, guys. This is pure wisdom. This is pure wisdom. Flesh and blood did not reveal this. But anyway, I'll catch you another time. Have a nice day for now. Don't touch that. And please subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you know anybody that have not subscribed, share to your friends, share with people. I beg you, let's grow this together, and we'll tell our success story someday. Thank you, guys. Bye.